Let's look at a real IPv4 addressing example in binary. So we have the IP address right now, 192.168.4.6. So they've already done for us the 192. So 192 in binary is 11000000. Well, how do we figure that out? Well, again, it all comes down to having our chart. So what is our chart? It's 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1. So we're going to have this chart for each of these octets. So 128 versus 192. Is 128 less than or equal to 192? Yes, it is. So what do? We put a 1 right here. Then we take our 128, or pardon me, our 190, our 192, and subtract 128 from that, and what do we get? We get 64, right? We get 64. So now we ask ourselves, is 64 less than or equal to the next one, which is 64? And it happens to be equal to. So we put a 1 there. And then 64 minus 64 is 0, so we're done. We're done at that point in time. So everything else is 0 if we're done. So that's how we get our 192 equaling 11000000. That's what it works out to. Let's go ahead and do one of the examples that they have not done for us so far, like the 4. So in this case, 4 is 000000100, as they said. So let's figure out how that's going to work for us. So we have to have our chart. So let's go ahead and write down our chart. So 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. So we're dealing with a value of 4. So here's what I would do. What combination here gives me 4? Well, we know 128 is too big, 64 is too big, 32 is too big, 16 is too big, 8's too big. Ooh, 4 works. So put a 1 there. And, well, that's it. 4 is 4. So 2 doesn't work, 1 doesn't work. So now everything I've crossed out is a 0. And everything I haven't crossed out is a 1. So there you go. We've just figured out the binary of that. It was that simple, right? We really didn't have to do any major calculations at all. So let's do the 168 now. So let's just use the bottom chart we have. Let's not even write out the chart because it's already on the page for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to say we have 168. So already I need a value of 128. So I'm going to go ahead and write out the 128. I'm going to do it anyways. 128, 64. So that way there we can cross everything out. 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. So 128. Are we going to need a 128 to get to 168? Of course we are. So we need a 128. So I'm going to put a 1 underneath it. Am I going to need a 64? Well, the way to figure that out is just take 128 and add 64 to it. What does that equal? Well, that equals 192. So we're already greater than 168, aren't we? Okay. So I'm going to cross that out. I don't need that. So what about 128 now plus 32? What does that equal? Well, that equals 160, doesn't it? So that's going to equal grand total of 160. So now I'm at 160. So what's 160 plus 16 now? Because 116 is our next value in line. 160 plus 16 gives us 176. Well, that's too high because we're trying to get to 168. So I'm going to cross that out. What about 160 plus 8? Yeah, 160 plus 8 is 168. So I'm going to need that. And then I've hit 168. So that's going to be 0. I don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. And there we go. So I figured out that 168 is 10101,000. So I'm just keeping a running total.